All in. Call. Oh man, I lost. Lost? Wait, if I can lose money, then doesn't that mean that poker is actually gambling? Today, we've got a hot topic on the table. Is poker really gambling? It's a question that's sparked debates for years now, and we're here to explore all sides of the argument, although, in my opinion, one side is the clear winner. Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Rob, and I'm a recovering compulsive gambler. I made my last bet on November the 12th of 2022, and since then I made it my personal mission to help others who are struggling with problem gambling to recover from their addictions faster than I did. If you're interested in gambling, the truth about gambling, or gambling addiction, then please smash that subscribe button to stay up to date on the content that I release here. Welcome to the community. So, before we jump into the debate, let's establish what poker is. Poker is a popular card game that combines skill, strategy, and chance. It's played in various formats like Texas Hold'em and Omaha, where players bet, raise, and fold based on the strength of their hands and a collection of community cards. We'll be referring to Texas Hold'em throughout today's video as that's the game that I played when I was gambling. Now, the heart of the debate lies in whether poker is more skill-based or chance-based. Many players argue that poker is a game of skill, where proficiency in reading opponents, calculating odds, and employing strategic maneuvers can lead to consistent success. It's like a mental sport where players hone their abilities over time. Poker demands a set of skills that go beyond the luck factor. Players need to master probabilities, understand psychology, and adapt their gameplay based on changing dynamics. Observing your opponent's behavior, learning to bluff effectively, and making informed decisions can supposedly significantly influence the outcome of a hand. One key aspect of the skill argument is the role of variance. In the short term, luck can play a much bigger role, leading to unexpected outcomes, but supposedly over the long term, skill tends to shine through. Professional players are consistently outperforming amateurs due to their mastery of the game's intricacies, right? Well, the reason that we see the same few players in the major tournaments each year has a lot to do with where their money is coming from, and the fact that they have enough money to even enter each competition. When tournaments cost $10,000 to enter, there's a pretty significant barrier to entry for the majority of the world. Professional players are backed by stakers who usually fund their tournament buy-ins, and they can also sometimes cover their tickets with endorsements. So why do we see the same few players every year? Well, they're the ones that can afford to be there, and a win in one of these tournaments of that scale can fund buy-ins for the remainder of the year. I don't think that if you asked a professional poker player, they would tell you that they cash in the majority of their games. They win big a few times, and they're subject to the same variance as everyone else is. Now, let's shift gears and address the gambling aspect. Gambling involves risking money or valuables on an uncertain outcome with the hope of winning more. In poker, players bet money, and the outcome is indeed uncertain. This element of uncertainty forms the crux of the gambling argument. Gambling for the compulsive gambler, and I believe for everyone, is defined as any betting or wagering for self or others, whether for money or not, no matter how slight or insignificant, where the outcome is uncertain or depends upon chance or skill. While skill plays a significant role, chance can't be ignored. The randomness of the cards dealt and the communal cards on the table introduces an element of unpredictability that even skilled players can't control. This uncertainty aligns with the fundamental nature of gambling. Another parallel between poker and traditional gambling lies in the psychological aspect. The adrenaline rush of placing bets, the excitement of not knowing what's coming next, these factors can create a really thrilling experience that's characteristic of gambling activities. I played a lot of poker, especially when there were no sports on during 2020 and 2021. I had wins along the way, but I would always find that I was losing more often than I won in the end. So I started to study, and I tried playing with calculators and even bots informing my decisions, and yet, in the long run, after rake and variance, I ended up being an overall losing player. As my skill and technical ability increased, my results stayed more or less the same. Pretty random. Now, of course, a personal anecdote isn't a justification to label this gambling, as my experience might not be the experience of the next person. So let's take more of a definition-based approach. From a legal and social perspective, poker's classification varies around the world. In some jurisdictions, poker is considered a form of gambling and is subject to relevant regulations. This classification impacts where and how poker can be played in countries and states. Essentially, the point here is that if countries are limiting the play of poker to gambling establishments, if allowed to be played at all, that gives a very clear explanation that it is gambling, legally speaking. Poker combines elements of both skill and chance, blurring the lines between a game of strategy and a gambling activity. While even someone like me can admit that there is skill involved in poker, the scales are tipped in the direction of gambling, as even with optimal play, you can find yourself a losing player. Now, that leads into a whole different conversation, one that I would love to have on another day, which is poker profitable in the long term? Let me know down below in the comments what you think about that question. We've explored the intricacies of poker, delved into the skill versus chance debate, and examined its gambling aspects. If you found this video thought-provoking, don't forget to give it a like and share it with anyone that you think would benefit from what we talked about today. We can all do a better job, whether we believe it's gambling or skill-based, of understanding the reality of poker and the reality of gambling. And all of that is going to happen one day at a time.